Okay, and I can pull the file of the original paperwork too, if I can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone?
How are you today,
Good.
Sheriff?
I'm good. How are you, Mr. Rush?
Good.
Is it just you today?
No. Tim will be right back.
Got the king and that's it?
That's it.
Hey.
Now, the Saturday, I've got the little thing for,
For Dennis, yes?
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
In, out, you know, is that time?
It's just an open house kind of deal.
That's what I
We're doing a
thought.
little presentation
Are
at
you?
5:30.
At 5:30?
So if you want to be there for us to keep us black and stuff, then that'd be it. But otherwise, it's just an open house.
Because I've got a conflict at 6:30,
Sure.
I have the land bank.
Oh, yes. Well, I saw that too, but obviously I'm gonna.
And so I wanted to walk around.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. So 5:30 is the little presentation part.
Okay.
Other than that, it's just an open house.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds well deserved.
Oh, absolutely. I hate to miss him. How are you, sir?
Good.
It's one of those bittersweet things for me. He's absolutely deserved it, but I'm like, man, I don't really.
Yep.
It's a year of change at the office. We're all gonna have to get used to everybody in the new roles.
We all have it, but it's one of those things, the gentleman is your right hand.
Absolutely.
And,
I feel like somebody's cutting my right arm off. I really do. Now, me and Scott will get there as well. It's just gonna take some time.
It'll work out.
Yeah.
But I've had the same situation before in my career, and it's tough.
Yeah. The one thing, and at least I'm cognizant of this problem. I am the kind of guy that you ask me a question, we make a decision, we move on, and in 5 minutes, I've forgotten about that, because we're already on two or three different things.
Right.
Dennis will take 2 days to make a decision. I wish I was more like him. He wishes he was more like me, but we balance each other out.
Sure.
Scott and I are both very similar to, we make a decision and we move on. So I told him, I said, listen, we got to watch that, because not having someone that's willing to sit back and say, okay, let's really look at this. I said, that could be a problem for us. So we need to be very aware that we have the same personality. So,
He's gotta be your break man.
yeah, yep. So,
No, well deserved, I mean,
oh, absolutely. He's given me a little over 10 years of nothing but phenomenal service.
unbelievable.
He served this county very well.
Yes, he has. So how are you beyond that?
I am good. Office is running pretty smooth. Day's not over yet, but I am one of the few sheriffs in the area that are fully staffed. You know,
Great.
I truly believe that everyone there at this present moment wants to be there, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part of having a well-oiled machine. So that's a good thing.
Good morning.
We are,
Good morning, sir.
we are unfortunately having to spend some money, but it's cost of business. Obviously, we have body cams.
Yep.
We have in-car cameras. We're in the process of making sure all of our cars have those. So technology, you know, just our body cams are up for replacement. So we're going to be signing a contract with Wolfcom, which is who we have currently. And then we also have Wolfcom in-car dash cameras. So that whole system, you know, cloud storage, the whole 9 yards. It's just time to upgrade. So that's
How old are the current ones?
the current body cams are anywhere from 2 to 4 years old, depending on which one. They, generally speaking, they only carry a 2-year warranty, because they go through a lot of stuff on a daily basis. So most vendors don't warranty them past 2 years. So we're actually entering a 5-year contract with Wolfcom. The nice thing about this contract, and it's, I mean, you pay for everything, there's nothing free. But at the 2.5-year point, they replace them with brand new body cams.
Oh.
So, and each body cam is about $4,000 a pop. So, you know, you either pay it in the upfront or you pay it at the end, but either way, you're gonna be paying it.
So how many body cams are you looking at?
We have 27 total.
27.
Yeah, so we have, that gives us 3 extras, because obviously if something goes wrong with one, that way definitely can come and get a fill-in body cam. And what we're moving to is, we have on-premises storage right now, which means I have to buy a server about every 4 or 5 years at $15,000 to $20,000 a pop. We're moving to the cloud, because the in-car cameras so those are brand new over the last year. The in-car cameras. So that storage, it was already set up to go to the cloud. Then we have our body cams going to the on-premises.
So when it's all said and done, you have everything going.
I don't like things going 2 separate places. If we're gonna have footage of whatever scene, we shouldn't have to go to 2 separate places to find it, because that's when things go wrong. So everything is gonna go to the cloud now. And again, it's expensive. I think we're gonna have about 65 grand in it, just this year. But I'm also saving 15 to 20 grand every 4 or 5 years, and, not having to buy a server, and so, and then the 2.5 year mark, we're going to get replacements versus having to spend another 4 grand a pop in 2.5 years. So it all balances out.
So again, on the 27 that you're getting, that's about 4 grand per.
Correct. And then the in-car cameras, like I said, we have them purchased already. We're just in the process of installing them and getting them hooked up to the cloud. But it's really nice the way it's set up. When the car pulls into our parking lot, it should automatically download into our system. So, that's the dash camera, not the body camera. But anyway, that's one less thing that the deputy has to remember to do, so. This technology, Tim, I don't get it. They just tell me what it's gonna do, and I say, okay, sounds good to me.
And again, everything's with Wolfcom.
Correct. Wolfcom has been very good to us over this, oh boy, this is probably the 3rd renewal that we've done with Wolfcom. So I bet we've been with them 15, 20 years. 15 years at least. So, right? About 10? All right, 10 years.
After I came in.
All right, 10 years.
But so far, good service.
They've been good for us.
No need to look around.
When there are issues, they fix them, That's how I sort of base things on is, when there's a problem, how quick does it get fixed? And how attentive are you to our issues? Because we're a small agency, I understand that. We're not Cleveland PD, Columbus PD, but when we call, they get it fixed, so that pleases me. Other than that, dog warden, he's starting to run down people with tags. I think I know he's been giving that quite a good run at it, he and his assistant out there. So, and we were down to 10 dogs the other day, which is
My
great.
goodness gracious.
But that fluctuates.
I don't wanna say too much because.
Yeah,
now-
as soon
now
as
go-
I told him, said that's awesome, but I said, the week's not over, you might have 30 by the time the week's over. But, he's been doing real good about trying to find homes for those puppers out there.
Good.
I'm getting positive feedback from the public that deals with it, they seem to like what we're doing out there. Other than that,
Good.
am I missing anything, chief?
I believe so.
Your last official meeting as chief deputy with these gentlemen?
Yep.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
guys. I'll tell you, in the 4 years or so I've been here, it's been a pleasure to be around you, to work with you, to understand a lot of things from you. So thank you personally for the things you've given me.
Appreciate that.
Well, he doesn't know yet, but I may just throw him in the cell block and keep him there, so. I'll feed him, I'll feed him.
You'll feed them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
Daily.
Well, budget's tight, so. You guys have anything for me?
I think we're pretty good shape, don't you, Tim?
Yep.
I think we're good shape.
Okay, we did have a jail meeting this month, so I assume we'll have to have one next month.
Yes, pretty much, that's all.
Joe was in conference down in Columbus.
Nice, nice.
He's learning how to become a commissioner.
I just came back to, last week we had our 2-day sheriff only training where we give our 16 of the hours that we need mandatory, and the new sheriffs were there for last week. We have 29 new sheriffs, so
Oh my, wow.
that's quite a big class. So we had a lot of retirements, and then 3 or 4 unexpected losses, you know, that always happens. So yeah, the association ended up getting 29 new sheriffs, so that's, and I was sitting by a new one in the training, and I liked it because just about every 5 minutes he was asking me a question, and I went back to when I was doing, like, you know what, I did the same thing, I didn't know anything, you know. I thought I did when I walked in there, and then you start listening to people, like, okay, I didn't know that, so. Yeah, I told him, I said, you know what, I've been doing this 17 years now, and I'm still learning, so. That's why you have other sheriffs to call upon, and I told him, I said, we actually spoke specifically about the commissioners. I said, listen, I've enjoyed a very good relationship with my board of commissioners over the years. I said, you've gotta have that. Because I've seen it the other way, I've seen sheriffs not have good relationships, and nothing ever good happens. It's, the public doesn't win that way. So I tried to drive that home to the guy sitting beside me. Go back and give your commissioner. I said, you're not always gonna agree with them, and you're not always gonna be on the same page, but just be professional and respectful and work through it.
But, you know, together we work through things.
Absolutely. All right, I'll get out of your hair.
Sounds good.
So, you know where we're at if you need us.
Thank you, all right, for everything.
Thank you.
All right,
Dennis, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Much
Appreciate it.
deserved.
All right, thank you.
this time stay retired.
Well, see, that's the thing, he's actually gonna stay on with me for a little.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not letting him go completely, and I still got that hook in him just a little
There
bit.
you go, got you.
How you guys doing? Doing good? Good.
Thanks.
See you later.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
guys.
See you later. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get something.
That's the sheriff's office levy that we first, put on ballot in 2010, I believe. And that's, every 5 years, it's been a renewal. And it went down in November, and again, between bad wording and me just, more people are gonna go. Well, it was horrible wording, you know. Well, because I wasn't there, I was like, you know. And I was like, oh, so this one, I do it now. It was, that's for living. I was like, yeah. People heard it, it's great. We thought that was one of our, I wasn't really fast. Well, I'm like, that's fine, we'll figure it out. So, yeah, that's a we do separate, but we're on the same team. We actually share a lot of resources. If that's what they need, I honestly, I don't want to speak ill will of theirs, you know. I hope they pull off if that's what they need. The way I took it from the mayor is basically just covering what they're doing now, maintaining, yeah. But again, you gotta talk to the mayor for that, but, I was a little disappointed that they went forward when they did, because I was led to believe that they weren't gonna put it up yet, so I hate the fact that we're gonna have 2 levies. I hope people don't see it as competing, you know, but there will be some people that see that as competing levies, so. I think this could be a factor with that role that people would. Right. And you know, there's a lot of people that as a taxpayer, I've been told, well, commissioners just need to fund your property. Well, you know, and there should be peace on earth as well, and it's just not gonna happen, so. So that is the sheriff's office only levy, so like the general fund money, ain't that. And then the 911 levy is, which I run, obviously, the communications.
How many years has the chief deputy been?
10 years.
10 years?
Yes, sir.
Would he be open to an interview at some point?
I'm sure he would. He's probably right out there when we go ask him. Sure. Because I think we drove together, I'm not sure. Yeah, but so you have any other questions, just get hold of me.
Do you have any, yeah. No, I think that, I don't know.
That's approximately 25% of my total budget.
Do you know
So
how,
obviously that's a pretty big portion of it.
I don't, see if that's the one you forwarded to me.
oh, I think
Okay.
that's good.
All right. Yeah, like I said, if you have any other questions, just call me.
Will do.
All right.
Thanks.
See you, Mr. Stryker.
See you, sir.
How are you, sir? Good. Miss Deborah? Keep them out of trouble. You get the one. I know, I get it. You and Angie ought to start a therapy support group.
wanted to make sure that we didn't both just. Okay. I scanned it in. Uh-huh. Yeah, I did send it.
Hi, Jack.
How are you?
Ty?
Excellent, Sean Burns.
I'm sorry. I'm Fred Rush.
Fred?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sean, how do you spell your name?
S-E-A-N.
Okay, thank you.
And usually.
How are you
Tyler-
gentlemen today?
Doing well, doing
Good.
well. Usually Tyler Barron of our community affairs team joins us. He unfortunately had a personal family health issue, so he is unable to join us. He's
Okay.
back home in Indiana right now. But, we appreciate the time today, and
So Sean, this is the first time here for you, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, of course, we're the commissioners and everything. In addition to this, our clerk is Tori. And then on top of that, we do have coverage from the press over here. And then an individual from the county is also taping our stuff.
okay.
Understood.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, so usually I'll do a quick project update. We'll describe kind of the actively ongoing work, any future outlook for anywhere from a month to a quarter about is what we've been meeting on a recurring basis with the commissioners, and then just field any questions or comments that come up, and then every once in a while there's any items that are brought to their attention from the community that were shared with us, and then we'll try to get back to them in a timely manner. Hardin Solar 2 in late December declared commercial operation.
Yeah, what date was that again?
And that was December 20th is when we
December
declared.
20th, and it went into operation.
December 20th, 2024 is when it went into
Okay.
operation. And then, yesterday, after close of business, we received notice from our construction team that Hardin Solar 3 was officially producing energy to the grid.
Is in there, okay.
And so we are formally declaring, or filing to the OPSB today, that yesterday was the commercial operation date, which is very exciting news for us.
And again, that would have been yesterday, the 24th of February.
Correct. Monday, February 24th would be Hardin Solar 3.
And you're reporting that to the our siting, what you saying?
Yeah, today we were making the filing. It happened at about 5:10 p.m. yesterday.
And
so-
you responded to the Ohio Tower siting board on Solar 2 back in late December then? too.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we also made a public filing.
So they have information that both entities are in operation.
Correct.
Very good.
We sent letters of notice in mid-February. We were expecting COD on or around the week of February 17th. That went to, should have gone to the commissioner's office, all the township trustees' offices, any parties to the case, local libraries, all of our participating landowners and all landowners that are immediately adjacent to our project facilities. I fielded a couple phone calls from individuals, so I know that a good chunk of them at least made it to their intended locations. But we will continue to make sure that people are aware. We shared the same information yesterday at all three of the project's township trustees meetings, the Marion, McDonald, and Roundhead, where Sean and I were both present. Had pretty good feedback from the township trustees, which is everything that we've kind of communicated over the past couple of months is following order. I've made note to every group now and would like to reiterate to this group as well that just because the project has declared commercial operation does not necessarily mean that our job here is done. So in mid-March, we anticipate to remobilize about 80 of the original 400 staff that were on the construction site full-time with RES to be able to do any final reclaim work that looks like detention basin reclaim, that might be additional drain tile work, that might be the reclaim of construction laydown yards that are present on site that were holding equipment or materials or whatever else there. Basically, a final punch list that, our construction team and our operations team are running through together to make sure that the project not only functions properly, but also, you know, is aesthetically pleasing, that the landowners basically have their final approval and sign off.
So again, this punch list is for both 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And when do you anticipate having the punch list complete?
So it's always weather pending,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately in the winter and the spring.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at the weather and it looks like it was gonna be a nice kind of break from the cold this week. However, there's a lot of snow sitting everywhere, so everything melted, and now a lot of those field conditions are wet rather than, you know, inaccessible for snow reasons, so.
Mud and muck.
Right, so hopefully, you know, this temperature can maintain and the precipitation can last, so we can, get into some of these fields. Again, we anticipate kind of normal timelines starting in March right now. It's kind of on a day by day. If we have a couple smaller tasks that we are trying to get to, we know it'll take a day or two with the right field conditions. Long story short, probably in the summer of this year. There is a couple small items for Hardin 2, Hardin Solar 3, because it's a little bit later down the line, has a couple more items in terms of reclaimment repairs that are necessary. But I have communicated to the township trustees that our list, what we believe is whole. We've consulted with every landowner, we've consulted with a number of contractors who are more familiar maybe on the day-to-day than myself, or you know, a construction manager who doesn't see these things as intimately. So we have a very good idea of what this list is. However, sometimes, you know, issues will arise after the fact, and so we have, you know, made it very clear to everybody to let us know if the list of 5 or 6 items per parcel or per block or per area, if there's another one that, you know, needs to be addressed, that they let us know, so we can make sure while we have the manpower, while we have the equipment.
I was wondering if you had a contingency team, basically contingent upon anything coming up unexpectedly that you had in place.
Yeah.
Currently, you've got how many people out there right now?
On the day-to-day, no more than probably 20, but as I mentioned, about 80 folks full-time will be available for construction. Or are you saying for the operations team?
For the operation.
At full staff, I think we're around 10 individuals. As a manager, it's gonna be 8 technicians, I think, right now, and there's a couple more that are gonna be hired. So around 12 to 14 full-time staff with, the site administrator, the O&M manager, and then all the technicians.
So about 12 people for both 2 and 3?
Yeah.
Or 12 each?
12 total.
So it's about 4 dedicated to the project.
What do we have on solar 1?
There's 3. There's the owner manager and then 2 technicians.
Okay, so the total on 2 and 3, probably about 15 or so?
I would still say 12. The division of labor is kind of like you have some techs working both, and so I would say 12.
Okay, and that's, so I'll put 12 down as the daily operation for 1, 2, and 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
Once we get going.
I think that's a fair intro into this next point, which is Invenergy, the way that it's structured, has 2 kind of different branches. There's the Invenergy LLC arm, which is development and construction, and then there's the Invenergy services arm. And Sean is a member of the asset management team, and so he is more of the commercial. His team takes more commercial ownership in the operation of the projects, and then he works more closely with that operations site staff.
Okay.
So in a similar vein that myself or Tyler Barron or maybe Zach Zebula of the project management team, where we kind of take more central leadership and focus, Sean and his team takes more of a central leadership and focus in the ongoing efforts. And so it's a mixture of our team's job to make sure that we capture everything and that we know everything that exists. And you mentioned a contingency plan, so.
And Sean's pretty much in charge of the daily operations ongoing as it goes from year to year.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a contingency plan, and what we have been doing and will continue to do is, for any of the items that we know exist right now, it would either be my responsibility or Zach's responsibility to make sure that we close those out. And then anything new that comes up, essentially he will run point on those items if they're not some very technical construction related item. And then Zach and I will be either CC'd on the emails. We will join conversations to kind of provide any additional context for items. But again, once that.
And then that's basically at the point in time when the punch list is completed. And
Yeah.
everything, correct?
Yeah,
Which probably will be spring, summer.
yeah.
Okay. Just as a double check, now that everything is completed on 2 and 3, I know in 1, it ended up being a 150 megawatt facility.
Mhm.
My thinking is number 2 was a 150 megawatt facility.
Correct.
And that, as it ended up, number 3 is a 250 megawatt facility.
Yep.
Is that still correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there any battery storage buildings?
There is no battery storage at this time. We do have queue positions for battery storage, but we haven't done anything for permitting at this time. We haven't done anything in advance. So, as that is potentially realized, we'll have a lot more thorough, a lot more publicly facing thing, I think, battery storage. And so, there is still a bay at the substation. The way that it was designed, there was 3 bays. The first one was hosted for Hardin Solar 1 and kind of the initial larger interconnection facilities, and then the second bay currently hosts Hardin 2 and 3 for solar. But we know that there isn't immediate space or appetite from the landowners surrounding to be able to do more solar. So battery storage isn't out of the question, but at this time we don't have any permitting efforts or anything, and so it's a couple of years process.
Just backing up a little bit, clarity, Solar One, you completed, sold, you're operating, Invenergy I'm talking.
Yep.
Solar Two, what's going to happen there? Be sold probably?
So back to the contingency plan where because of the structure, where we sold the commercial aspect of the project, we, some of those closeout items, I think that's where, a more difficult transition occurred. But thankfully for us here, Invenergy will be owning and operating Hardin Solar 2, where we just operate one. So Sean mentioned earlier that some of the staff kind of have unilateral responsibilities across the 3 project phases. That's because those technicians are all Invenergy services employees that work with Sean's team. 2 owned, operated by Invenergy, and then 3 WEC, who is out of Wisconsin, Wisconsin Energy Company. They acquired partial interest in Hardin Solar 3, but Invenergy will still retain an ownership stake in the project. So the high level answer is that Invenergy has ownership and operational responsibilities both at Hardin 2 and at Hardin 3.
And they have no ownership in Solar 1,
That's correct. Just operation, right?
just operation.
Yes, sir.
But Sean and his team still have responsibility for the services aspect, which is the day-to-day, workings right there. Yep.
Who do you talk to with Solar 1 as far as the ownership goes?
So my counterpart is at Dominion Energy. His name is Harvey Jones.
From the company name?
Yeah, that's Dominion Energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're out of Virginia.
Things change an awful lot, I just like.
Oh, yes,
make
they
sure
do.
I'm more on top of it. So Dominion has 1, 2 is still Invenergy,
Mm-hmm.
and 3 is Invenergy.
Invenergy and Wisconsin Energy Corporation.
How do you spell that last one?
Wisconsin.
Just Wisconsin?
Yeah, Wisconsin Energy Corporation.
Let me ask a question for the future. Is there a Solar 4?
There's not a Solar 4 for this community, but I've told all the township trustees, I've told folks in the past, that if there is ever, our company is driven by willing participants, usually being landowners. We have gotten almost every single project in Ohio has actually started because someone reached out to us, not we reached out to them. And, you know, there has been expressed interest in the past from some of our participating landowners to sign up more land. As mentioned before, some of it relates to connectivity, points of interconnection, or ability to access those central points. And so it doesn't always work out, and so we, you know, have folks who will sign up that we can't utilize their ground, and vice versa. There might be a large landowner or two, which is how we started the Hardin Wind project way back when, was a couple landowners reached out to us and said, we have thousands of acres, we would like to do something with this, and then that kind of creates those conversations. So, you know, Hardin County's been very favorable for us. People have continued to reach out, anywhere from folks with 1 acre to hundreds of acres and say, can we do anything with this? And, we don't have anything, you know, sure at this time. Like I said, once we get more significant land control, then we'll start having conversations with the local officials. We'll move towards permitting and so on, but that is not somewhere that we are, at least in Hardin County, so.
Just for clarification too, the townships involved in 3
Is Marion Township,
Marion,
yep, McDonald Township,
okay,
and Roundhead Township.
and Roundhead.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2, the same,
2 is the same, and 1 is also the same.
and 1 is also the same.
And I actually confirmed that last month when I was here with the
Okay.
map office, so.
So again, all those 3 townships, Marion, McDonald, and Roundhead have 1, 2, and 3.
Correct.
Nothing in Glen.
No, there's nothing in Lake County,
Okay.
or excuse me, Lake County.
Is there opportunities, I know as the years go by, technology will change. And as years go by, I'm sure the units that you have in place in 1, 2, and 3 will be changed out to a more, to different types, quality, and everything of units. Would you anticipate potentially utilizing more of that ground for maybe another solar project if it's already there?
Yeah, I've seen it happen before,
Because my thinking is if you need to get 150 megawatt in let's say 2, maybe 10 years from now, you don't need as much of that acreage covered with
yeah,
with solar panels, and maybe that acreage then could be utilized for another entity, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Is that a possibility?
That certainly would be. We obviously, you know, we use the best of what we can acquire now, but research and development specifically around solar panels, I know that projects that we, you know, build now will get panels, and then, you know, 5 years later even, there might be a relatively drastic increase in the productivity. And we are very aware and very receptive to the fact that the Farm Bureau, they intervene in every project case because they want to make sure that the, you know, agricultural use is still available for portions of the property, and that we do keep, you know, as much ground in production as possible for,
Right.
you know,
It was leading my next question, if, because I'm thinking, I'm not sure, I think in 1 is close to about 800 acres, I thought. And that as technology changes, that acreage could shrink of what is actually needed. Would the acreage that is not used, would that be decommissioned then?
Yeah, that would be, I would assume they'd be decommissioned if those facilities are not working at that point. I think.
Well,
that
a
it's
portion of the
Yeah,
facility
right,
is not working, not all of it, just a portion. So you would decommission a portion?
Yeah, we certainly could. These projects are built to last upwards of 50 years.
Yes.
But I think commercially we expect or desire to have these operational for at least about 30 to 40 years. That's how we.
Our understanding is approximately 30 years.
Yeah. And as, who knows what'll happen in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, but I know specifically with wind right now, I think that has a little bit more history. And so it has a little bit more of this path. There are a lot of those, once the existing infrastructure is in place, it's really easy to, you know, swap out this new technology. So once you have that base in place, I've seen they'll remove the tower and then they'll put a newer, stronger one in, and they'll put higher, you know, higher towers with longer blades, they're a little bit more efficient.
I would think it'd be very easy
Yeah.
to switch out new technology in place of old technology.
And conveniently, I think for the industry, when they've created these, I think relating to like wind speeds and relating to ability to be able to mow or maintain areas underneath, they keep it all pretty uniform in terms of like the base infrastructure, the tracking and everything else, which requires manufacturers to build within those same rectangle, size scopes, so that it can be, repowered or kind of updated over time. So I think that there is a lot of opportunities, and to your point about either using the same existing space to potentially create a full new one. So if it's 100 megawatts now and down the line we double our capacity, all of a sudden we could have two 100 megawatt projects in the same space.
In that
Or
same
even-
footprint.
in that same footprint, or we could reduce the footprint and, put 400 of those acres in production, back to agricultural use and still get the same output. I think that's a very real possibility. I think a lot of farmers, and I think a lot of, local politicians would probably love that, because then a lot of the, local community members who aren't not as supportive of, changing the existing use of that property can help restore some of that ground.
Okay.
The idea of our projects, we work with the ODNR and we work with the OEPA. We have seed mixes that are, natural grasses to this area that hopefully help restore a lot of those nutrients, as opposed to getting, partially stripped year over year or having to be artificially enriched via manure application or whatever else. And then hopefully this ground that's sitting idle for 30, 40, 50 years can be some of the most productive ground, back on the back end of this for the next generation of farmers. So that's the intent. Again, who knows where things are gonna move in 30, 40, 50 years, but that's how we've planned these, that's how we've built these, and that's where we hope that they'll go.
So everything is complete then with the county engineer concerning road?
So, spoke with Luke actually yesterday. He provided a agreement, basically a base agreement, and we are going to be providing the final document today for review. The way that we've structured this agreement is, and if you have any other feedback on this, please let us know. But it was our intent to have Luke as the county engineer sign off, as the pilot exhibit requires the county engineer sign off, and then have the county prosecutor sign off as a representative counsel. We've done similar supplemental agreements with our fire and emergency services responders in the area, and we've left it up to, I'll say, kind of the person to sign off on the pilot agreement. So in the fire and EMS instances, it's the chiefs of those respective departments, and some of them want, for instance, McGuffey, who's requested that the McGuffey trustees sign off, the McGuffey Village trustees, whereas the Alger Fire requested that the Marion Township trustees sign off. So whatever the structure is that they prefer, we have met that need with, again, the intent to make comfortable the end signee. So if in this instance Luke said, I think it's okay to have the county prosecutor sign off. If you would like to be involved, I think the county office has signed off on other renewable energy projects for pilot.
I wouldn't hurt.
We can certainly put a line item in there, just to keep
Go through the prosecutor first,
Yeah,
and then it would end up here.
Yeah. But it's our intent, hopefully, to have everything wrapped up by the end of this week. We have received nearly everything that we need for Hardin Solar 2, and we have been working in tandem to receive the same documents for Hardin Solar 3. So, we're hopeful to have everything complete here by, the March 1st is when the either construction progress report or a construction completion report is due. And the construction completion report doesn't necessarily mean the construction is complete, it's when you have all the pilot deliverables available, which we hope to have for two, like I mentioned, by March 1st, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, moving down the road at our end of it is, we need to go through the Department of Development, get
Mhm.
approved,
Yep.
sent to our auditor by December 31st.
Right.
So that allows us or him to change to pilot taxing
Yeah.
instead of personal property tax. So that gives us a year to collect it, 26, 27, it'll be distributed.
Yeah.
So that's our timeline now.
That based on everything we see, looks like the timeline that it'll be collected in 26 for both 2 and 3. And then in 27, we'll see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've spoke with Mike Bacon about that at length, and we're aligned on the timelines.
Good.
I told him that the moment we have everything in order, I'll make sure that he's aware. We can send notice to this group as well. I think that's warranted. And then we have a line in right now with the ODOD. Actually, it's his recommendation that we kind of just, indicate that we're moving and we're about to have this submitted with the intent that we can expedite this process as much as possible. So.
It's the speed of government.
Yeah, and we already have a data sharing room that they have confirmed access and have confirmed that they've seen everything that we've executed so far. So I can't say that they've started their review. They're probably gonna wait until the full package is complete, but they know. It's
Okay.
So
It's very important for this county to
yeah, certainly.
get those funds
Because,
timely manner.
because 1, 2, and 3 all encompass the same townships. I'm questioning, because I know there was an agreement made a couple years ago as far as the roads for Solar One.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is the agreement with 2 and 3 inclusive of that or exclusive by standalone?
Yeah, that's a great question. So conveniently for, I guess, all parties involved, we've used the same, it's been building upon. So the epicenter, right, is Hardin Solar 1, and then Hardin 2 is built around it, so we had to use all the same roads for Hardin Solar 1 to get to 2. And then the same thing was true for 3. So there's everything that was included in the Hardin Solar 1 road agreement was also included in the Hardin Solar 2 road agreement, and everything that was in the Hardin Solar 2 road agreement was included in the Hardin Solar 3 road.
So I'm assuming that the dollar amount has grown accordingly. So
Yes.
the dollar amount of 1 is X.
Yes.
The dollar amount of 2 is probably an additional X,
Mhm.
and 3 would be an additional X,
Correct.
meaning 3 times X is the total of 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah,
correct?
that's
Okay.
correct. And the original bond amount that was posted, the scope that the county engineers and our construction team signed off on was less than that amount. And that amount actually included a couple additional areas that were not in the original roads
Yes.
agreement.
Yeah.
Following some temporary construction use, some feedback from the township trustees, from the local fire and EMS, we wanted to make sure that any areas that we used in any capacity got the attention that it needed. So the original roadies agreement has, we'll just say 10 roads on it, and 11 or 12 were actually considered in the scope that was. And you'll see that in the road agreement that we sign off on. That will be an exhibit to the agreement.
Just to clarify a little bit, if I get it right, each project, Solar 1, 2, and 3, are they separate in the bond that was held if you pull out, take
Yeah.
things down, you had what, do 1 million first?
When you say take down the decommissioning bond? is
Yes.
that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
They are 3 distinct entities.
So each one has a.
Yep.
So I think it increased as it got into 2 and 3, just dollar value.
And I was the one responsible for making sure that those bonds were in place year over year. We actually have to file a notice of compliance with OPSB every single year.
So it's 3 separate bonds, 1, 2.
Yeah, there's 3 separate bonds that are in place, and each one covers that share, that portion's bond costs. In total, the intent is if one phases out, right, at a different time than the others, then it can still have access to those bonds.
So again, your in charge of making sure those are in place, and you have one set up for one set up for two, and one set up for three.
Correct.
Three separate bonds.
Yep.
Covering the three entities.
Yeah, and it's also a requirement by the OPSB to have those decommissioning bonds refreshed every 5 years. So those prices over time expect to go stale. And so there will be an evaluation every 5 years, since the initial, posting of the bond, to make sure that those costs are, accurate, or, if
So they could go up and down every 5 years.
yeah, they'll probably only go up, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way I've
Is that the
understood bond
PUCO
markets.
that does that, or the siding board?
It is a joint, effort between the OPSB and the project company. So, that's something that, for instance, at Hardin Solar One, that's Dominion's responsibility to do. Whereas Invenergy will take that responsibility for Hardin Two and for Hardin.
And they were, Dominion owned it how many years? 1 year?
3 years now, or 4 years.
I think it was in
They
twenty
may be in
twenty-one.
another year, Solar One will have to
Right.
go through a process of up or down. Cause I think theirs was set a little low, cause at the time they started operating,
It was the first solar project in the state,
Yeah,
so
so
it's probably.
it was
very,
like,
yeah.
if I remember right, it was 1 million, and now the current ones are 3 million bonds. I'll have to
I
check.
think it's a little higher than that. I think,
Okay,
I'm
good.
pretty sure that the Hardin, I don't remember if it's Hardin Two or Hardin Three off the top of my head, but it's closer to $14 million. So that,
Wow, that's a big one.
I don't
So,
know if
yeah,
it's
so,
higher.
so the bond value for one is,
I can't say for certain, but it's higher than $3 million.
But I would
$3 million
assume-
for a bond.
the bond value for two would be at least as much as what it
Yeah.
is for one.
Yeah, and then because 3 is almost twice the size, it would be
Yeah.
proportionally
But
incremental.
two is the same size as one, but I'm still thinking the
Yeah.
bond value would be at least what one is,
Correct,
at least.
yeah.
And of course, three would be potentially almost double.
Probably, yeah.
So it has the possibility to increase every 5 years by review or decrease.
And I think it would make sense too that as we have to provide notice of decommissioning, so,
Yeah,
well in advance of decommissioning of the site. So if that were to happen, I'm sure that it would make sense to refresh at that point anyway. It's good to do every 5 years just to keep things.
Just
You-
kind of clarify.
Yeah.
you mentioned the number 14 million, is that for the total, or what is that?
Yeah, don't hold me to that. It's a number that's floating in my head. I haven't looked at the bond itself in a while, but that would be the total amount, and then
One, two, three.
no, I'm sorry, I think it's just for 3. I think
What?
that's the total. I think that's the total amount just for 3. I think it's 11 million-ish for one, 11 million
Oh,
for two, and then 14.
Oh,
So
14.
total probably upwards of,
Okay,
at 30 million, 40 million
Thank
dollars.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a lot higher than crazy.
I'll need to double check.
Been so long since I've looked up one.
Yeah.
time, we're thinking of other things and other priorities, so
And
it's
think
always
about it.
nice to get back
That
to
was
this.
back in 2019, I believe, Solar One.
Yeah.
I just came into commissioner's office when we had to vote on the pilot in January of 19. So,
And the road bond posted was 3 million, so that, times thousands of acres would be substantially more, so.
okay. Well, good. I mean, you've been good partners. So everything just takes forever. For us,
This process
you know,
is long.
we're the end product, I guess, we're the end.
Yeah, and recipient.
Yeah, we get paid last, I should say.
And I've mentioned this before, both to Sean and their team for clarity, and I've mentioned this in this forum before, but also just let it be known again that, specifically for the pilot payments, if there's a 2-year lag from when the project goes operational, so if the project goes operational in 2025 and you get the pilot payment starting in 2027, that means that the project is decommissioned in 2050, then you'll still get payments in 2052. So 2-year lag on the payments from the start of operation, 2-year lag on the payments from decommissioning.
So say that one more time.
So, Hardin Solar 3, announced operation in 2025 and expecting to receive pilot funds from the project company in 2027 for the 2026 tax year, because it's rears. If the project were to decommission in 2050, 25 years later, the pilot payments are also going to go for that same 25 years. So it was a 2-year lag on the front end, it's a 2-year lag on the back end. So
Okay.
you'll still get paid for 25 full years of operation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not, so the way I describe it is, it's not that we're not paying taxes for 2025 or 2026. It's just we pay those, you know, in a 2-year lag.
Can I make just, this is just an example, but on 2 and 3, it's year 25. And in 27 is when is the first pilot payment.
Yep.
Let's say if the life is only 25 years.
Yep.
Just for easy math.
Yep.
So that means in 2050 starts the decommission and we get the last pilot payment in 2052.
Correct.
Okay. So eventually, this lost year that we've always talked about, we would eventually,
Be realized.
we would realize it in total.
The only difference I can see would be the value of the dollar 25 years
That's
later.
right, that's right,
$9,000 per
that's right.
mega unit or
Yeah.
pilot is gonna be
Yeah.
less buying power,
Yeah.
but we knew that when we agreed to pilot, so that's the only difference.
Maybe that's something we can work on and the powers to be and the state government can help us out.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't get involved in it.
No,
That's over my head, I'll be honest.
But it is one of those things, you know, that sort of a deal you do look at because what you spend $1 for today isn't gonna be the same for 25 years from now.
Absolutely.
I think it's safe to say Fred and I won't be in this position in 25 years, so we're
Yeah.
looking out for the future
Absolutely.
as best we can, but we appreciate
Yeah.
the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing, we're trying to make things as good as possible so the future Jacks and Johns can,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
have a little bit easier go with things.
Okay, that's all I can think of.
So my quick takeaways, I will, for the good of the order, send an ownership structure for our 3 projects for clarity, just a nice quick
Yeah,
little
if you
table.
could, the ownership structure of all 3.
Yep. And the
One
services
for
aspect of
clarity.
it, and clarify.
And again, as clarity, the megawatts for each one. For clarity, also the acreage involved in each one,
And if
the
you,
footprint of that acreage.
if you happen to get digging in the decommissioning amounts, could you send that in? Just send it to us. Let's put it on record.
Yeah.
So, we're all,
And those are, I'll send them to you directly via email, but those are publicly available via the OPSB docket for each of those. I know there's hundreds of documents on there, it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to sift through, but I'll find it.
I can do some digging too.
So, ownership project breakdown, megawatts per project, acreage per project, decommissioning costs, and then sharing with your office the, road agreement,
The
supplemental
road
agreement,
For all 3.
for all 3, and then, I created a KMZ file on Google Earth that shows the overlay of each of them, so you can turn it on and it's the first couple, and then you click the second button, it's a larger one, and click the third one, it's a larger one. So I can provide like a PDF file of that overlay, so you have, a visual, of kind of what's going on. But again, that is, also flagged, at least in, a table of all the roads themselves in the exhibit to the supplemental agreement I'll be sharing. So,
Excellent.
should be all there.
Send it to Dory or.
Yep. Yeah. And I will also include the contact information. We'll probably just provide like a 1-pager contact sheet for Sean is manager Allie, who helped with some of the Hardin Solar One items earlier on. Derek Levan, who's our O&M manager, guy who's on site 5 times a week. And then I'll just continue to keep my information in Zach Zebula, who's the construction manager's information. And Tyler too, so you can have the full, that's the contingency team, if you will. If anyone has any questions, they can reach out to any of us
That's
six,
great.
and
That's
somebody
great.
will be able to get.
Anyone, including even township trustees.
Yep, township trustees, county commissioners, local department chiefs. I think at this point, we've already shared your information with everybody. In addition to if the landowner reaches out, whether it's a participant or, just a community member, and they have a question, they can reach out to us via email, and we'll be able to address.
Okay. Very good.
Fair enough. Thank you for the information.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's ever been a question not answered. Maybe not immediately, but I mean, thank you for.
We try. So I was telling Sean, I was like, I almost appreciate the fact that like I come into these all the time because it helps me, one, realize like what people are thinking about, but then also it helps me learn a lot. I feel like I've grown a lot since the first time I came in here a couple of years ago with Aaron Saul or Ryan Van Woodley. So looking forward to the spring and the summer, keeping things moving. Hoping this thing can be nice.
We had 10 months to get our certificate, so.
Yeah.
We need, so.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get it sooner than later, so.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Any on the bottom?
Absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate everything you guys do as well, patience and
Sean,
cooperation.
Appreciate it.
It's been
Nice.
6 years
Thank you,
coming.
sir.
Yeah, absolutely, but we're finally turning the corner, so.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. I see construction's moving along, how much more for your 4 corners here?
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
A long time.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a couple more years, and we're gonna put a roundabout in down here.
Yeah, then you don't need streetlights, I guess, save a little bit on energy bills.
Yeah. The street, they got all them street lights in there. Yep, it'll be more efficient with this thing. Or it'll be underground, a lot of wiring.
Yeah. You'll, couple new stoplights I've noticed too, a little bit brighter bulbs, at least. next
Yeah, they
to-
got the long reaching ones that'll come
Gotcha.
out over the intersection and then the lights and it'll be this century.
Yeah. It'll be
Kind
worth
of
it.
technology.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, I will follow up via email.
Okay,
Thank you both for the
thank
time.
you, sir.
Sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you, Jack.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
That's it for the day, guys.
Okay.
That's
Anything
all
else?
on the agenda.
Hmm?
That's it on the agenda.
Okay.
Here, let me give this to you.
This is from earlier, it was in
Uh-huh.
small ones, I'll give it back to you.
Okay, I'll hold it.
And
I'll stamp that.
why don't you move on to that one too? It's good reference material.
Okay.
Thank you.